She's across the room, legs crossed, lips parted, eyes locked on yours. Every other guy is sweating, begging for her attention, but not you. Because you know the secret. Deep inside her mind, there's a hidden switch, one that makes her ache for you. And tonight you're about to flip it. But before we dive into it, let me tell you this. You were born to lead, to conquer, to stand unshaken in a world that rewards weakness and punishes strength. But somewhere along the way, they tried to tame you, to make you apologize for your power, to beg for what should have been yours by right. No more. This channel is about reclaiming your throne. Seductive Stoics is about the mindset of kings that shapes destiny. Here, you'll learn the unbreakable discipline of the ancients, the unspoken rules of control. Not by force, but by presence. Not by chasing, but by becoming the man she can't resist obeying. The path is simple. The choice is yours. Now let's get into our today's concern. Every man has seen that woman, the one who turns heads when she walks in, who makes guys stutter over their drinks, who seems to hold all the power. Listen carefully. Here's the unknown truth. She doesn't want that power. Deep down, she wants to surrender it to a man who understands her psychological weak spots. The most desirable women, the ones who act untouchable, aren't as in control as they seem. Their bodies betray them, pulse quickening, breath shallow, skin flushed. They crave a man who doesn't play by their rules. A man who ignites emotions so intense, their logic shuts down. This isn't about manipulation or tricks. It's about awakening the primal hunger she tries to hide. It's about speaking the silent language of a female's desire, the one her body obeys before her mind can resist. Most men spend their lives begging for attention, validation, and sex, while the few who get it effortlessly know these 5 primal weaknesses. Let's break them down, not just the what, but the why and how, so you can own attraction without chasing. Weakness number 1. Her craving for emotional dominance, the pull of the unknown. This isn't about manipulation or tricks. It's about understanding the biological wiring that governs female attraction, the unconscious triggers that create irresistible pull. It's about awakening the primal hunger she tries to hide beneath modern dating rules and social expectations. It's about speaking the silent language of a female's desire, the one her body obeys before her mind can resist. These are forces more powerful than any logical argument, deeper than any conversation. Most men spend their lives begging for attention, validation, and sex, stuck in endless cycles of frustration. They follow the obvious path, compliments, gifts, constant availability, and wonder why it never works. Meanwhile, the few who get it effortlessly know these 5 primal weaknesses. They understand what actually creates attraction, not what society claims should create it. Let's break them down, not just the what, but the why and how, so you can own attraction without chasing. Because real power isn't in pursuing women, but in becoming the kind of man women pursue. Women don't fall in love through logic. Their attraction doesn't follow spreadsheets of your job title or height. They fall through emotional spikes. Moments where you hijack their nervous system, where you create sensations that linger in their body long after you're gone. Have you ever noticed how women obsess over bad boys, mafia romances, or forbidden affairs? It's not the men that they want, it's the emotional roller coaster. The dominance in their emotions is what they're truly chasing. That rush of unpredictability, that thrill of the unknown, these are the hooks that sink deepest. Most men fail when they act as predictable, safe, nice guys. They think consistency equals attractiveness, when in reality, too much predictability kills mystery. Same texts every day, agreeing with everything she says, making her feel secure but bored. This is why women say they want a nice guy, but keep choosing men who excite them instead. Safety is comfortable, but comfort doesn't create passion. So how can you exploit this fundamental weakness? The first way is to become an experience, not just a man. Most men make the mistake of presenting themselves as resumes, listing qualities rather than creating feelings. Don't just talk about your life, pull her into it. For example, tell her, I was in Thailand last year, got lost in a back alley market at 2 a.m. Ever smelled street food mixed with monsoon rain? You'd love it. That is how it works. Are you asking why it works? That is because she's not just hearing a story. She's there, feeling the danger, the thrill, the you. You're not describing events, you're creating sensory experiences that imprint on her memory. The second way is what we call the trigger emotional contrast. Human brains are wired to notice change, not consistency. One moment, you're whispering something darkly playful like, "You'd look good in handcuffs." The next, you're indifferent, but you'd have to earn them. The result you will get will be her brain lighting up trying to figure you out. This emotional whiplash, hot then cold, close then distant, creates an addictive puzzle her mind can't help but try to solve. The third way will be mastering the push-pull system. Most men either chase, all pull, or play hard to get, all push. The secret is the oscillation between both. Create an emotional confusion and dependency in her. Say things like, "I shouldn't like you, but here we are," or, "You're trouble." I love it. The effect will make her chase the unresolved tension. This isn't about being manipulative, it's about understanding that attraction thrives in the space between certainty and mystery, between having her and not quite having her. The key isn't to memorize lines, but to internalize this truth. Women don't fall for what you give them. They fall for how you make them feel. And the strongest feelings come not from stability, but from the thrilling uncertainty of emotional dominance. Weakness number 2. Her perverted pleasure in strong boundaries. Women test men. This isn't some malicious game. It's hardwired into their nature, an evolutionary mechanism that separates the strong from the weak. They're unconsciously screening for the kind of man who can lead, protect, and provide stability. Not to be cruel, but to see if they break. Every interaction, every cancelled plan, every mood swing is an opportunity for you to either demonstrate unshakable strength or reveal fatal weakness. If you chase after she cancels, you fail. This simple action broadcasts louder than words that you're desperate, that your time has no value, that you'll accept scraps of attention. If you beg for her attention, she loses respect. Nothing kills attraction faster than a man who positions himself as a supplicant rather than a prize. Most men fail when they prioritize her over themselves. They make the fatal error of thinking that devotion equals value, when in reality, excessive availability communicates the exact opposite. They apologize when they did nothing wrong. This unnecessary contrition is a silent admission of guilt, a subconscious signal that you're willing to take blame just to keep the peace. They let her dictate the relationship. By surrendering the frame, they create a dynamic where she's forced to take the masculine role, which ultimately leaves both parties unsatisfied. I know you don't want to fail, so here will be ways to exploit this natural dynamic to create attraction rather than repulsion. The first way will be to never reward bad behavior. When a woman tests you by being flaky or disrespectful, most men make the mistake of either getting angry or becoming more accommodating, both responses that destroy attraction. If she flakes or changes the plan on the last minute, tell her, "No worries. I'll be at X with friends, catch me next time." This isn't a game or manipulation. It's demonstrating that your life and your time have inherent value regardless of her participation. This works efficiently because she feels your absence and misses your presence. The power of this approach lies in its simplicity. You're not punishing her, you're simply refusing to rearrange your world for someone who doesn't respect your time. The next way will be to make her earn your attention. In today's world, most men throw validation at women like confetti, desperately seeking approval. This creates the opposite effect of what they want. Have a, "I don't just let anyone into my world. Convince me," type of mentality. This subtle shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of you auditioning for her, she now has to demonstrate why she's worthy of your time and energy. She will start to work for your validation. This isn't about playing hard to get, but about establishing that your attention is a valuable commodity that must be earned through consistent, respectful behavior. The third feature will be standing firm in your standards. Many men confuse this with being rigid or uncompromising, when in reality it's about having the self-respect to walk away from situations that don't serve you. If she disrespects you, walk away. This single action communicates more about your character than 1,000 words ever could. She either steps up or filters herself out. The beautiful paradox is that by being willing to lose her, you become the kind of man she genuinely wants to keep. This is the essence of true masculine leadership in relationships, the strength to maintain boundaries while remaining emotionally composed. Weakness number 3. Her addiction to mystery, the thrill of uncertainty. The female brain is wired for emotional investment. This isn't just a preference, it's biology. Women are drawn to what engages their emotions, what keeps them guessing, what lingers in their thoughts long after the interaction is over. The more she wonders, the more she obsesses. This is why predictability kills attraction, while mystery amplifies it. A man who is an open book becomes boring, but a man who leaves room for curiosity becomes irresistible. If she knows you're into her, that will make it boring. Certainty eliminates tension, and without tension, there's no emotional charge. She doesn't want to feel like she's already won you, because then the game is over. But if she's unsure, she can't stop thinking about you. The uncertainty creates a loop in her mind, making her replay interactions, analyze your words, and crave your validation even more. Most men fail when they text back instantly, confess feelings too soon, or make their interest painfully obvious. That throws all their power away out the window. They think they're being romantic or transparent, but what they're really doing is removing the thrill of the chase, the very thing that keeps her hooked. To master this, you need to understand and apply these 3 principles. The first one is delaying your replies. Most men make the mistake of being too available, responding within seconds as if they were waiting by the phone. This communicates that you have nothing better to do, that she is the center of your world. Instead, wait 2 to 3 hours before responding sometimes. This isn't about playing games, it's about having a life outside of her. Work on other tasks rather than obsessing over her. When you delay, it makes her check her phone for you, wondering why you haven't replied yet. This small shift in behavior creates intrigue and keeps her emotionally engaged. The other one is to leave conversations unfinished. Most men try to squeeze every last drop of attention out of an interaction, over-explaining or dragging out conversations until they fizzle out. Instead, when you're talking about something interesting, a story, an opinion, or a personal detail, cut it short. Say, "I'll tell you the rest in person." This does 2 powerful things. First, it gives her a reason to see you again, creating anticipation. Second, it makes her obsess over what you didn't say, keeping you on her mind long after the conversation ends. The third one is never fully explain yourself. Most men feel the need to justify their actions, clarify their intentions, or over-communicate to avoid misunderstandings. But this kills mystery. Instead, when she asks questions about your past, your feelings, or your motives, give her just enough to stay curious, but never the full picture. Tell her, "You'll figure it out eventually." This subtle resistance to full disclosure keeps her guessing, making her invest more mental and emotional energy into understanding you. The result? She chases your validation, trying to piece together the puzzle that is you, and in doing so, she becomes more attached. Master these 3 principles, and you'll never have to chase her attention again. Instead, she'll be the one chasing yours, because mystery, not desperation, is what truly captivates a woman's mind. Weakness number 4. Her biological surrender to leadership. Women are naturally hardwired to follow men who lead. This isn't about control, it's about evolutionary psychology. For thousands of years, women have been drawn to decisive men because they signaled survival, competence, and the ability to provide direction. In modern dating, this translates to a simple truth: indecision is unattractive, while leadership is irresistible. If you ask, "Where do you want to eat?" that will make you weak. Why? Because you're forcing her into the masculine role of decision-making, which subconsciously makes her question your ability to lead. But if you say, "We're going here," you'll love it. That will make you sound dominant, and she will surrender to your words. The difference? Certainty. When you speak with conviction, she doesn't just listen, she follows. Most men fail when they ask for permission. They treat women like authority figures, seeking approval instead of taking charge. They hesitate in decisions, afraid of making the wrong choice. They let her control the dynamic, mistakenly believing that being agreeable will make her like them more. But here's the truth. Women don't fall for men they have to lead. They fall for men who lead them. Never be most men. Instead, master these 3 behaviors that trigger her instinctive surrender. The first way is you take physical control. Most men are afraid to touch a woman first, worried about coming across as too forward. But leadership isn't just verbal, it's physical. When you guide her through a crowd with a firm hand on her lower back, you're not being aggressive, you're establishing presence. This subtle dominance triggers her submissive instincts, making her feel protected and taken care of. A woman who feels secure in your leadership will naturally yield to it. The next way is you make decisions unapologetically. Weak men negotiate, strong men command. Instead of saying, "What do you feel like doing tonight?" which puts the burden on her, you say, "We're doing X tonight." Wear something sexy. This doesn't mean you ignore her preferences, it means you take responsibility for the experience. She loves not having to think because it relieves her of mental labor. When you confidently steer the ship, she relaxes into her feminine energy, and that's where attraction thrives. The final one is you challenge her playfully. Most men try to impress women. Winners make women want to impress them. A simple phrase like, "Bet you can't handle this," sparks her competitive side. It's not about arrogance, it's about setting a playful standard. She'll want to prove herself to you, not because you demanded it, but because you dared her to rise to your level. This creates emotional investment, making her work for your approval rather than the other way around. Leadership isn't about force, it's about presence. When you embody this mindset, she won't just follow you. She'll want to. Because deep down, every woman craves a man who knows where he's going and isn't afraid to take her with him. Weakness number 5. Her desire for a man who doesn't need her. Women don't want to be needed, they want to be wanted. This is one of the most fundamental truths about female attraction that most men completely misunderstand. Needing a woman comes from a place of lack, of emptiness that you expect her to fill. But wanting her? That comes from a place of abundance, where she is an addition to your already complete life, not the missing piece that makes you whole. If you depend on her for happiness, she'll leave. Why? Because that kind of emotional dependency is a burden, not a gift. It puts pressure on her to be your source of joy, your therapist, your purpose. No woman signs up for that role willingly. But if you're fulfilled without her, that will make her chase. When she sees that your world doesn't revolve around her, that you have passions, ambitions, and a life that excites you with or without her, she'll instinctively want to be part of that world. Most men fail when they center their lives around her. They drop everything at her whim, rearrange their schedules to accommodate her, and slowly erase their own identity in the process. They cancel plans to see her, thinking this proves their devotion. They lose their purpose, mistakenly believing that sacrificing their goals will make her value them more. But here's the harsh truth. Nothing kills attraction faster than a man who makes a woman his entire universe. You can solve this by first always having a mission. When you say, "Can't see you Friday, I'm working on something big," you're not rejecting her, you're demonstrating that your time and energy are invested in things that matter. Women naturally crave a man with ambition because ambition signals competence, drive, and the ability to provide stability. A man who is building something is infinitely more attractive than a man who is always available. The next thing is to let her see you with other women without being obvious. This isn't about playing games or making her jealous, it's about demonstrating social proof. When she sees that other women enjoy your company, that you're not desperately waiting around for her attention, it triggers a primal fear of losing you because you are not operating from scarcity. She starts to wonder, if other women want him, what do they see that I might be missing? The next one will be staying unpredictable. When you casually mention, "I might disappear for a few days. Don't miss me too much," you create intrigue. Most men make the mistake of being too consistent, too reliable in their attention, which eventually becomes boring. But when you occasionally step back, when you're not always at her beck and call, it makes her wonder where you are and what you're doing. She starts to obsess about the mystery you bring to her life because the human mind is wired to fixate on what it can't fully grasp. The key is balance. You're not cold or indifferent. You're simply a man who has his own life, his own goals, and his own mysteries. That's the man women can't help but chase. Because while any man can give her attention, only a truly high-value man can make her work for his. Attraction isn't negotiated, it's triggered. Master these 5 weaknesses, and women won't just like you, they'll fight for you. If this spoke to your soul, comment below, "I'm ready to make myself unforgettable in her mind." If you're ready to own every room you walk into, subscribe this channel now. Our next lesson will be revealing the top 10 female dirty weaknesses every man must know, Stoicism. Until then, let her chase. Stay on track. Subscribe for more upcoming videos and mindset changes.